Okay, so we're in 2020, and this year you probably realize that there are a lot of brokerage apps that you can put your money in and hopefully get a lot more money out. And throughout my experience with investing, I've used apps such as Stockpile and Webull, Acorns, and even Stash. And there's other apps out there like I believe Betterment and Schwab and TD Ameritrade. But my two favorite apps at this point are Robinhood and M1 Finance. I'm pretty sure these are two of the biggest brokerage apps in America and maybe even other countries for people to use for different reasons. And the question that a lot of people are asking amongst each other are, what is the best brokerage app to use? And I personally think out the gate, it's up to what type of investor you are. So hopefully in this video, we can talk about that. I'm gonna give my personal experience with both M1 Finance and Robinhood, and you can answer that question amongst yourself. Let's begin. What's up? My name is Darren Jackson. Hope you're having a great day so far. And yes, it is Monday. This is weird, I know. So normally I release a video every Thursday between 11:45 and noon Central Time. But I decided I want to give it a shot and release 2 videos every week. I'm pretty confident I have enough time to do it. So from this point on, I'll be releasing a video every Monday and every Thursday around noon. So stay tuned for that. But anyway, back to the subject. As I was saying before, there's a lot of brokerage apps out there for people to use depending on what type of investor you are, how much money you're willing to put into it, if you like the interface, et cetera, et cetera. But the two most popular apps in my opinion are M1 Finance and Robinhood. Now, I currently use both and I use both for different reasons. And I wanna go over how I use both and hopefully help you guys out again, answer the question on which one you should use, if not both. So in this video breakdown, we're gonna go over both M1 Finance and Robinhood, just list the basic details and the features of both. And then I'm gonna go over my personal opinion of what I like about both and what I dislike about both. And then we're gonna end it off with kind of the grand scheme of things, what the preferences are, and all that good stuff. So I've been using Robinhood for a little over a year now. And with Robinhood, I've learned that you can use it for active and passive investing, maybe more so active, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. And you can tell that out the gate from the interface of it. So with the interface, it shows you the update of what your portfolio looks like. You can view your all-time adjustment, but you can also review it by the previous year, the previous 3 months, month, week, or that day. And that's kind of where the active comes in. And just in case, guys, what I mean by active and passive investing is that active investing is putting your funds towards a stock or an ETF and paying attention to the weekly and the monthly or even the daily updates on that stock to hopefully take the funds out at a sooner rate with a higher payout. Passive income is more so putting your money into something and being comfortable enough to not look at it for weeks or months, and then months or weeks or even years from now, going back to it, taking the money out and expecting a higher amount of money than what you put in. This does a little bit of both. And it shows you the overall gains or losses within your portfolio of those periods of time. And it also shows you that same information for your individual stocks, which I actually find pretty cool as well. You can get some of the details of each stock and determine if you want to buy or sell or do anything else. Now, when I first set up M1 Finance a couple of months ago, it was after hearing a lot of people say, hey, M1 Finance is more of a long-term investing brokerage app than Robinhood is. It's even better for it. And I was a little skeptical about that. I figured Robinhood was really good for long term, and again, we'll get back to that in just a moment, but they weren't lying. So you can definitely tell just by the interface as well with M1 how much it focuses on longevity investing. So with M1 Finance, you create a pie chart that represents your entire portfolio, and you can choose between numerous amounts of stocks and bonds and ETFs that you want to put into that brokerage. And then when you invest money into it, it splits up based off the percentages that you have labeled for each company or ETF to be invested towards. So for example, I have 3 stocks and ETFs within my portfolio, and I have it split 34% and 33% equal 100%. So every time I invest money into it, it splits up that way. But with M1 Finance, when you look at the interface, it doesn't show you the details of the portfolio. It just shows you the overall point of the portfolio, what your overall gains is, what your overall loss is, and it's up to you if you want to look into the details of it. So there's a lot of things I like about each different brokerage app, but as far as what they both have that's similar that I like about both, one major thing that they have in common that I like is the amount of research you can do. So with Robinhood on the home screen, you're able to display different news on the overall stock market that could affect your stocks or the individual individual stocks, whether it's the gains that your stock is undergoing, the losses, or just random news that could turn into gains or losses for that company. And M1 Finance does the same thing. It has its own research column where you can look into different stocks and get the information on them and news that portrays behind them. Now, specifically with Robinhood, the things I like about Robinhood are, again, for one, you can view the overall information for your stock, whether it's days, weeks, months, or even years and all time. It gives you the details of each stock in a very smooth interface. It's free. And I also like that you can invest as many times as you want within the given amount that you can invest in and within the trading market. So my trading market is between about 8:30 a.m. Central and 3 p.m. Central. So I can invest at any point, which is important because a lot of people like to invest to time the market, which will help them adjust their average cost for whatever share they have, which should have an impact on their dividends and how much they get paid out if they decide to invest with companies that pay out dividends and just overall growth itself. And now some of the things I don't like about Robinhood narrows down to two pretty important things. One, Robinhood has had an issue with crashing. So when this whole pandemic started, people were jumping up and down, making options and trading stocks that they felt like would adjust for the better or for the worse and they could make a premium out of it. Robinhood got to a point where they couldn't handle it and they crashed. And it got to the point where they were doing account freezes and I think something with turning off a breaker, which is, I forgot what the term is. I'll put it down below once I remember it, but basically it shuts off trading for 15 minutes so people can clear their heads and start over, and it prevents Robinhood from shutting down as it has before. Now, I haven't heard of any other brokerage app that's experienced that much as Robinhood. Granted, Robinhood is a very popular brokerage app, but if you're into day trading and option trading, which by the way is another feature that Robinhood has to offer, that's maybe something you want to keep in mind if you actually want to deal with that, because that's a lot of money that you can lose just based off a mistake that Robinhood caused because they decided to shut down. The other thing I don't like about it is that I've realized over my course of investing can be very emotional. What I mean by that is whenever you see a company that's doing really bad, some people may see it as, oh, this company is really cheap right now. Let me go out and buy 10 or 20 stocks of it. But you never really keep in mind of why they're actually going down. And you could be on a downhill roller coaster and you can lose even more money. And then you could just pull out just because of that fear and then they go back up. Or even the other way around where you see a company go up and you're just thinking, oh, I gotta jump on this so it can keep going up and I can stay on that upwards roller coaster. Not aware of why they're going up, which could help you realize that they may go back down and then you could lose all that money. It's fear of missing out. That has a lot to do with the greed versus fear index. It's a whole lot of information. And they always say to never lead with emotion when investing. It's always good to invest in companies that you actually care about, but don't let your emotions determine what you decide to do with your money. That's the bad thing. And I feel like Robinhood, with giving you all that daily information, could mess with people's heads and think, oh, this company just dropped 2% today. I gotta take out of it. When you have to look on it in hindsight, especially if you're a long-term investor. Speaking of long-term investing, what I like about M1 Finance is that it focuses on that a lot. It doesn't show you the details of your portfolio unless you click on it. It shows you the overall scheme of things. And for me, that's important because I've grown more importance on long-term investing, and I'm really comfortable with the portfolio that I have right now to where I can put money into it and never really look at it again. Now, what I don't like about M1 Finance narrows down to a couple of things. One, you can't time the market. You can't time the market because apparently you can only invest one time every single day into your portfolio, and you can only invest at the very beginning of that open window. And they may not be the greatest thing. That could adjust your average stock price, which could adjust the amount of dividends you get and your overall growth. Speaking of dividends, you can't withdraw the dividends that you make from shares. They get reinvested, which in hindsight is a great thing, especially for compound investing. But one of my goals is to be able to partially live off the dividends that I make from my investment. Now, that's not a big deal to me because again, I have Robinhood and I have it built that way to where I'm building the dividends off that so I can do things like pay bills, et cetera, in the long run. But if someone only has M1 Finance accessible for them for whatever reason, that option's gone. So you gotta accept the fact that it's gonna be reinvested, or just don't invest in companies that have dividends. You don't have to think about it. So now all in all, I hope after listening to this information, you guys have come to the conclusion that when it comes to which brokerage app is better, there is no right answer. They're both better than each other in some ways and worse in other ways. It's up to what type of investor you are. A lot of people like long-term investing. They want to invest in companies like Apple and ETFs like VOO, throw those into M1 Finance and leave them there, whether it's an IRA or just a regular portfolio where they can take it out later. And other people want to do day trading and options trading and invest in acquisition companies, and when they absorb another company, hope to get an all-time high and pull out in Robinhood. It's up to you, and that is something that you have to think about. And there's a lot of people such as myself that invest in both and have grown as investors to be able to maintain their emotions when using one app and be able to do enough research to keep their money in for a long time when they use the other app. So hopefully this information helps you guys. Hopefully you have more decisions on what brokerage app you use, whether it's these two or any others that are available out there. Please definitely leave a comment on what your favorite brokerage app to use and why. I appreciate you guys watching this. Make sure you tune in every Monday and Thursday from now on for a new video. And until next time, take care.